tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the fully enlightened Buddha. Dear friends in Dhamma, today we are going to discuss about fear. What is fear actually? In this world, I think, including human beings as well as animals, all of them experience fear in their lives in one time or the other. So, is this a good emotion or is this a bad emotion? How this emotion will affect us in our day-to-day life? How this emotion affects us when we are taking decisions? How this emotion affects us in the samsaric life? So, dear friends, in the Dhamma, we have to see fear has both a negative as well as positive results or positive impacts, negative impacts to our life. There are many types of fears arising in our life in many ways. Some fears are imposed by our elders, such as our teachers, our parents, and our neighbors. When we are very young, in order to control our behavior, some parents, some neighbors, some teachers make us afraid of many things. Make us afraid of police, make us afraid of ghosts, make us afraid of some unknown things and animals, so that we are just get control. Also, there are many other types of fear in the human psyche, human mind. So we need to understand how these fears arise in our mind, how they affect them into our lives, and so on and so forth. Dear friends, there are two things in the fear. There are benefits as well as disadvantages or some kind of bad effect to our life. For example, we have many fears like fear of life. Somebody might come and kill ourselves, or fear of injury. These are physical kind of fears. And also, apart from this physical kind of fears, there are so many other fears which are called mental fears. So, some sort of fears we have in our life is losing our loved ones, or try to associate with who do not like. So, we have to be with them or deal with them. So this kind of fear. Then for students, when they are doing exams, they have fear of failing the exam. And this fear of failure make people to suffer a lot. Because when you are taking decision, you need to have some amount of bravery, some amount of courage, so that you are not scared of failures. There's one saying, if you are scared of failures, do not contest, do not attend race, do not try to compete with others if you are scared of failures. So this kind of emotion that you get failed when you are try to associate with other context or other type of persons or any race, so you feel fear that you will fail, so therefore you don't participate. So this will inactivate you and incapacitate you, and you cannot move forward. It's kind of prison you are built inside your mind, so that because of this fear you are not taking decisions. So another fear is fear of judging by others. So we always concern about others' opinions, how they think about us, how they have opinions about us. So this kind of emotional blockage or emotional barriers will hinder your development, spiritual path, as well as the physical and your life in general. So fear is a great trouble in our lives. Another fear is fear of mistakes. So we can make mistakes. So when the people are fear, for example, if you want to give a speech in front of a group of people, a group of students or group of audience, so you will have a stage fear. So these kind of fears are there, and also in physically when you fear about change. So in the world, in the universe, there's a principle of change. So mostly celebrities and those who people are quite beautiful, or if they are very nice, they are very worried about change. So change is an eternal process which we cannot avoid. So this kind of fear is there. Then the fear of death is another kind of fear, and also there are so many other fears coming from the world. For example, now we have coronavirus, the fear of diseases or fear of sicknesses all over the world, and also the fear of terrorism, fear of other kind of things such as our mental conditions. Sometimes we fear ourselves about our own thoughts. So this is a very hard thing in our life. And also the benefit of the fear is that Buddha asked us to look at fear of samsara, because our existence is described by the Buddha as samsara, a cycle of birth and death. So we are going around a cycle of birth and death. So if you see that people get sick, people get old, people face many kind of suffering. So if you see these sufferings and create a fear in your mind, so that you want to get out of this sansaric life, you want to get rid of this sansaric life, then it will help you to overcome the sansaric journey, shorten the sansaric journey. You can avoid the sansaric journey by cultivating the 10 perfections, 10 principles of to be enlightened. So therefore the fear is useful in that sense, and also fear is useful in the sense of punishment, fear of punishment, fear of repercussions, fear of karma. This kind of fear is very useful, but most of the time fears are sometimes very irrational, unreasonable, and hinders your progress. For example, fear arising about future. Most of our fear are arising from the future, because we worry that if I do like this, something will happen to me, or if I say something like this, something will happen to me. This kind of futuristic worrying, futuristic restlessness create intense feeling of fear inside us. So it is very important for us to develop how to overcome this fear. So once Buddha met a Brahmin called Janusoni in Abhaya Sutta. Buddha had courteous greetings and a friendly, amicable discussion with him. And once this amicable conversation is over, the Janusoni Brahmin asked from the Buddha, what I see in this world, there are people who will die without fear or terror in their life. Then the Buddha said, he see the person who doesn't have fear of death. He see the person who doesn't torment at the death. Then the Buddha told this Brahmin, dear Brahmin, there are 4 types of person in this world who dies with fear. And also there are 4 types of person who will die without fear. So when the Buddha said this, the Brahmin asked, who are these 4 types of person? Then the Buddha explained to him, there is a person who has not abandoned craving, who has not abandoned desire, who has a lot of craving, who has a lot of desire, who is running after the sensual pleasures. And this person, suppose he was gravely ill and he is very sick, and he is come down with this sickness, and he is at his deathbed. So when he is at deathbed, he is thinking that he hasn't done something good. He hasn't done something wholesome. He hasn't done something positive. He doesn't help others. He doesn't create good energy. So he is worried. He has a great deed of very great sense of fear in his mind. And he thinks like this, I have to get rid of these sensual pleasures. When I die, I cannot enjoy these sensual pleasures. I have to get away with these sensual pleasures. So he beats his chest, he beats his hands, and feel very sad, very fearful about losing his sensual pleasures. Because all human beings, all animals, all are very fond of to enjoy the sensual pleasures. This is the nature of the human being, nature of all the beings. So he is worried that at the death he has to leave this world, he has to give up all the sensual pleasures. So therefore he think that I have to get rid of these sensual pleasures, I cannot enjoy these sensual pleasures. Then this person, because he has not developed a skillful way, he has not developed wholesome energies, so he dies with fear, he dies with regret, he dies with torment. And later, the second person, who is very fond of the body, who hasn't done any wholesome deed, who hasn't developed any spiritual qualities, and suppose he's come down with a sickness, a grave illness, and he cannot get recover, he cannot get remedy, so he was worried that he is going to die. And at the time of his death, at the time of his deathbed, he thinks that he has to leave this body, because we people are so attached to our body. We think our body is our life. Our body is our most important faculty. But in Buddhist teachings, body is like a temporary shelter, temporary house we are occupying. Our mind is occupied in this temporary house. This temporary house is not forever. This temporary house we cannot carry, even though we nourish it, even though we give all the good comforts, even though we give all the good clothes, and even though we bring this body everywhere, wherever we go, but we cannot bring with us. So at the deathbed, this person fears that he has to leave this body. This body is taken away from me. So this kind of worry, this kind of fear is in his mind. Therefore, friends, we need to look at this fear in the about body, the loss in the body. So Buddha says this person having abandoned, having entertained a lot of greed and desire for his body, he has to die with fear. He has to lament and torment himself about leaving this body. So this is the second person who is fear of death. Then there's another person who has not abandoned, or who has not done very wholesome, noble deeds, but still he is confused. He doesn't know true Dhamma. He doesn't know what is right. He doesn't know what is good for him. And therefore, this person worried that, furthermore, there is a case of person, doubt, perplexity. He doesn't know the true Dhamma. He doesn't know what is right. He doesn't know what is wrong. So, this person is confused, and he cannot do any skillful means, because during his life he hasn't done very skillful deeds, skillful means. He hasn't practiced the noble Dhamma. So he has this perplexity, confusion. He is dying with confusion. Because of this confusion, he is very nervous, and he is very fearful. He has a lot of... and also, those who are savage and not cultivating good qualities, those who are not giving protection to those who are under fear, those who are under stress, those who are... Nowadays, there are so many people are suffering. There are many refugees. Some people live in great fear of terrorism act, bomb explosions, and external diseases. So we need to give comfort, and we need to give some sort of redress, some sort of relief to those people who are suffering. So if you are brave enough, and if you are careful enough and caring enough to give some good protection, some good attention to those who are in fear, and release their fear. And in Buddha's own life, Buddha himself has one mudra called Abhaya mudra. Buddha always give world the protection. He is the one who is fearless. When he was under the Bodhi tree on the full moon day of Vesak, he was meditating under the Bodhi tree. There were a lot of Maras, or the evil one, come him to tempt him, and also to disturb his process of meditation, process of purification of his mind. So in this event, in this moment, there were Maras, or the evil one, and 3 daughters came. This is a symbolical factors explaining that the struggle Buddha went through. And they were making a lot of noises, they were making thundering, lightning, and also, apart from that, there were many imaginary things performing there to see the Buddha, so that his sensual pleasures are aroused, his erotic feelings are aroused. So in these moments, Buddha did not move by these kinds of external things. Buddha was called the person who has given life to others, because in order to overcome the fear, we need to develop the compassion. Compassion is a great, very powerful tool we can develop in our mind. When you develop the karuna, the compassion towards all beings, that helps you to overcome the fear. So when Buddha was meditating under the Bodhi tree, all these the evil one's daughters and evil one, Tanha, Rati, Raga, all of them were dancing and try to make Buddha move away from his intention to become Buddha. But Buddha determinedly told them, "You cannot disturb me, because I have completed my 10 perfections, I have developed my wisdom, so I can see you are trying to disturb me, but you cannot. You cannot disturb me. You cannot move me. Because I have a right to be here. I have a right to be here because my intention is to make the whole world free from suffering." His benevolent idea, his benevolent intention gave him the power, the strength, the energy, the determination to overcome all these fears. So dear friends, it is very important for us to have good mindset when we face in our life. So in the other four persons Buddha described in the Jhana Abhaya Sutta, that the person who has done skillful deeds, who has completed the very good development of mind, they can face the fear without any hesitation, without any difficulty. Why? Because he knows that body is there, body is not forever. So when he's come down with a grave sickness or illness, he's at the deathbed, he can think, this body, even though I am using this body, even though I am take care of this body is not forever. So this can be one day die and go to the earth element goes to the earth, and the air element go to the air, and the water element go to the water, and the solid element go to the solid. So these four elements will dissolve. So he knows wisely and intelligently that this body is not forever. So he doesn't entertain any fear at the time of death when he is gravely sick. And another person who is gravely sick and also look at his way of thinking that these sensual pleasures are not forever. Even we like to enjoy them every day, every moment, every second, but they are not forever. I have to leave them. I have to get rid of these sensual pleasures. So even he comes down with a grave sickness or illness, he doesn't feel any fear about it. So he can avoid the death, he can feel that he can get rid of this fear. So he doesn't worry about them. Then the other person who has practiced the Dhamma, who has understand the right and wrong, who has understand the wholesome deed and unwholesome deed, so he can get rid of these unwholesome deeds, and during his lifetime he has practiced wholesome deeds. He has developed positive energies. He has developed very good things. So he has no fear. No, he has no complexion. A lot of people wait for the last moment to develop the spiritual things, but we don't need to wait for last moment. We don't know when the death comes, it doesn't give you even a single day. One person who was a very rich person, he was about to die, and the Mara, the god of death, come to him and told, now it is time for you to go. Then when this person was told that god of death, that he has to leave, and he pleaded the god of death, please, please give me one day. I have such and such an enormous amount of wealth. I will give you that all of my money. Please give me one day. I want to do some duties to my daughter, my wife. And then the god of death said, no, I cannot give you any time for you. You have to go now. Then again this powerful rich person told, please give me 1 hour. I give all of my properties. Please. He said, I cannot give you any minute for you. You have to go. And the third promise he gave, I have a lot of gold, I have a lot of silver, I have a lot of gems. I'll give you all of them and all of my property. Please give me at least 1 hour. He doesn't want to give. So when the death comes, there's no time for us to reflect back and do good deeds. So it is for us to start practicing good things now, here and now, right now, not in future, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month. We have to do it here and now. That is the way to develop fearlessness. Because Buddha says those who have overcome the 10 petals or all the kilesas, all the defilements, can overcome fear. Those who have the defilements, those who have unwholesome thoughts, they entertain fear. Fear is inevitable. But fear, we have to think that fear can be overcome by our mind. Think of when Buddha says in one sutta, Bhayangva chambitattangva, if you have any fear, if you have any kind of dreadfulness, feeling any danger, think about the Buddha, think about the Dhamma, think about the Sangha. Why? Because Buddha was able to live even in the graveyards. He walk even in the middle of the night through the forest, through the graveyards. He wasn't scared. He wasn't feared. So think about Buddha's good virtues, good qualities. That will give you a confidence to overcome the fear. That will give. Think about the good qualities of Dhamma. That is the medicine that will help you to overcome the fear. So in these ways, and also we have to look into the emotion itself. We have to look into how fear arising in our mind, how fear is sustaining in our mind, how fear goes away from our mind. Because fear also not permanent. It comes and go. It comes into our mind, appear in our mind, maybe stay 1 hour, 2 hours, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, it will disappear. So these are emotions, they are not permanent, they are not forever, but we should have courage and sense of security in our mind through developing Dharma, through going through Dharma. If you develop our life through Dharma, you can develop some qualities, some kind of immune to face the fear. This is called anavajja sukha, the happiness or the security you feel safe through behaving righteously. If you behave righteously, then you can understand, you can face the life even if you have fear. So Buddha said, Sabbe tasanti dandasa, everybody fear of punishment, Sabbe bhayanti macchuno, everybody fear of death, attanang upamankata, having oneself taking as example, having oneself setting up the example for others to see that one should not make others fearful. Some must give abhedana. Abhedana is in Buddhism is giving life or giving fearlessness. Bhaya means fear, abhaya means no fear. So if you can create a society, if you can create a family, if you can create a village, society where there is no fear, you are not creating any fearful, dreadful, a dangerous situation for everybody. That is very peaceful, that is very enjoyable place. So dear friends, let's try to get rid of our fears and try to develop the courage and the fearlessness through the Dharma. May the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha guide you, protect you and bless you. Sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitatta.